Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. The Democrats have created a domestic terror force. For years now, I've been warning about these dangerous street armies that the Democrats have been nurturing, the Antifa, Black Bloc militants, and BLM anarchists, the supposed anti-fascist forces, the resistance, these TikTok radicals. They've been enabled to run wild across the country with almost zero pushback, especially in places like Portland and Los Angeles. They're essentially protected, funded, and encouraged under the guise of peaceful protest and resistance against Donald Trump's obvious crimes that they literally cannot define. You know, the Democrats created a monster, and now, well, it seems to be rearing its ugly face as people are finally realizing that that's exactly what the Democrats have done. This is the baby they've nurtured, a domestic terror network. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on as 11 Antifa weirdos were just arrested on charges of attempted murder. We got a whole bunch of stories to get into, so let's roll the tape. Okay, friends, so just take a look at this. 11 left-wing extremists are now being charged in a, quote, highly organized terror attack on an ICE facility.
We're here to tell you that late at night on July 4th, Friday night at approximately 10:37 p.m., at the Prairieland ICE Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas, 10 to 12 individuals dressed in black military-style clothing began shooting fireworks and engaging in acts of vandalism at the facility. And this was part of an organized attack. Today, my office has charged 10 individuals with 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer. Each of the 10 are also charged with 3 counts of discharging a firearm in relation to a crime of violence. Each of these defendants faces a mandatory prison term of 10 years and up to life in prison. An additional co-conspirator was charged with obstruction of justice and conspiracy for attempting to conceal and destroy evidence in relation to the attack, and he faces up to 10 years in prison. Let's discuss the incident. It was a planned ambush with the intent to kill ICE corrections officers. Make no mistake, this was not a so-called peaceful protest. It was indeed an ambush.
We have seen fascist pigs, ICE pigs, profanity. That was the graffiti that was sprayed at the ICE facility, and also the leaflets and brochures that we found on the person of those involved in this assault and attempted murder, and also in the location that we searched. So I think it's fair to say that this is an anarchist ideology. It's an anti-government ideology, and it has turned to violence.
So according to the reports, the group lit fireworks and vandalized the building to bait police officers into the open where they would be waiting to shoot them. And apparently one officer took a round to the neck, but thankfully we're hearing that he survived and was released by the hospital. But very evidently, I mean, this was attempted murder. And what do you think the police found when arresting these would-be domestic terrorists? Well, let's put it up here on screen. Flags from Refuse Fascism, literature promoting insurrection anarchy. These are armed left-wing militants that have been radicalized, and they're essentially LARPing like communist revolutionaries from the 70s in South America. And of course, we can't forget, as it's Summer of Love 2.0, we gotta roll the mugshots, as is tradition now, to post the photos of these individuals and notice a very similar pattern. And of course, speaking of pattern, I think a lot of people are starting to realize the Democrat pattern of violence here. You know, finally, it seems slowly this is becoming a problem for the Democrats, a political problem. For some reason, they've been able to coast by for years now. I mean, they basically laughed in our faces and called Antifa a myth.
It is true. There's violence across the whole country. Do you disavow the violence from Antifa? That's happening in Portland right now? There's riots.
That's a myth.
This forced alternative reality pushed upon us that left-wing violence and left-wing terror didn't actually exist. No, it was only the right-wing boogeyman, the Trump MAGA minion. But now I think this Democrat fantasy is slowly dissipating, and finally the media is asking the right questions. At least slowly, kinda.
According to Axios, some are even being told they need to be more willing to go out there and get shot when fighting, that was a direct quote, get shot when fighting back against some of Trump's policies. One House Democrat saying, quote, and I'll read it to you, "Our own base is telling us that what we're doing is not good enough. There needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public. How do you respond to that, Leader Jeffries? Are Democrats not meeting the moment, not doing enough to fight these developments?
Well, we are in a more is more environment in terms of the unprecedented assault on the American way of life and our country that has been launched by Donald Trump and compliant House Republicans.
There's Hakeem Jeffries getting pressed on the 700% increase on ICE facility assaults. Of course, not much of an answer to analyze from this complete hack of a human being, but his non-answer is answer enough. For me, it's basically a soft admission that he knows that this is a problem for the Democrats, because the Democrats built this little army of street thugs. They mobilized them through their NGOs, their activist organizations, with all these little social media campaigns and legal support groups. They're the ones creating the outrage, gaslighting the public, and lighting a match with their completely deranged inflammatory rhetoric. And basically, the Antifa scrubs, those are the useful idiots that they send to cause chaos. The ground troops that wear black and break things, while the non-profits handle the bail funds that Kamala Harris promotes. The media, of course, works overtime to cover for it all. Oh, these buildings behind me, it's mostly peaceful protests. They're definitely not on full-blown fire. I mean, you've got all this shadowy funding pouring in from probably USAID and George Soros and other characters like Reid Hoffman. The money's coming in upholding this entire digital infrastructure, pushing this stuff 24/7. And when it finally blows up into yet again another serious attack here, these Democrats are going to look the other way. They're going to pretend as if it's just a fringe group, not connected to them. No, it has nothing to do with them. But let me say it as clear as I can, it has everything to do with them. These are the foot soldiers of the modern Democrat machine. This machine of mischief that they've created. I mean, it's a whole network of extremism. You got all this shady funding, then you've got characters like this that are designed specifically to track ICE agents in real time.
When I saw what was happening in this country, after reading Project 2025, after watching Trump's first administration, and certainly hearing his campaign rhetoric on the trail for the second, I had to do something to fight back. And when we see 5-year-olds in courtrooms without representation, when we see college students being disappeared for their political beliefs, and even worse, when we see babies being ripped from their mother's arms while they're screaming for their children in the name of patriotism and this country, I really think we're watching history repeat itself. And Ice Block was about the best way I could think of to fight back.
Does the app encourage anyone to do anything illegal?
Absolutely not. Our whole thing is inform, not obstruct. In fact, multiple times throughout the app, it says for informational purposes only. The idea of this is if you get a notification and you're walking down the street and it says, hey, ICE has been reported 4 blocks ahead of you, we encourage our users to turn left, turn around, keep yourself and your family safe, and avoid confrontation in the first place. As of yesterday, we have 541,000 users across this nation. So I can't be happier with the amount of people that have accepted it and are using it, and it's growing every minute. This is a reporting tool. This is an early warning system. So in 2 taps, somebody can report an ICE sighting and alert those around them within a 5-mile radius.
You got an application for left-wing activists that allows them to dox and stalk ICE agents. And then, of course, you connect the dots, you correlate that to the 7% increase in assaults on ICE, and boom, there's the conclusion, right? The Democratic Party has built a chaos machine. They've nurtured it, they've weaponized it, they've let it fester, and now it's erupting, seemingly uncontrollably. The Democrats have created an ugly monster here, and now they're playing dumb and pretending they have no association. But based on my perception, how I'm reading things, I think the American people aren't buying it anymore. You don't get to scream about saving democracy while sending your shock troops to attack federal agents, to plant bombs, to shoot cops, and to try to dismantle ICE or attack Tesla facilities. The left is completely out of control, and it's got to backfire enough politically for them to actually be forced to have to do something about it. Because only they can call off their dogs, but they would only do the right thing if it was absolutely politically necessary. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.